I was going to get this when Pokemon Let's Go was released. Unfortunately, the store didn't have it in stock at the time. But I was able to pick it up a day later, so, you know. Yeah. Anyway, after using this for a little bit, way too small for an adult. I'll say that much. I wish that there was a second size, but meh. And the texture, these gloves you might think you can't feel anything through, but I can feel the texture on this. It's weird, to say the least. It's also it is a little bit of a learning curve when using this. I picked it up quite quickly myself, but then again, I seem to do that with a lot of things. Anyway, Mr. Sharpie, let's take this apart. What was this thing? Pokeball plus charge stand. Let's see how this thing works. Oh, hello. So that's how it works, huh? This is not a good idea. Sorry, it just seems a bit convoluted that in order to charge this up... Yeah, see, I really think Nintendo should have gone down the point when making these so it could just simply sit on there and charge without having to get an extra dongle. You know these parts are going to go missing, right? Oh, and if you do have this yourself, there's this little switch here. I don't know what it does, but it's very interesting, to say the least. So, unlike the last charge stand I purchased, this weighs a lot less, and it doesn't feel like there's anything rattling around on the inside. So, with that said, 5 volts, 100 milliamps. That don't got a lot of power. See, you know, I look at this and I feel like it's actually supposed to remain on there. So I'll have to give that a try in gameplay. I mean, look how that even sits in. That's just totally different. So by the looks of things, it does sit in like that. See, this way, you can only charge this Pokeball. If you've got another or a friend comes over, well then you got to go through the hassle of, this is why having something that can just sit on is so much better. Yet it's all these little accessories now that I don't remember Nintendo being so OCD on. Let's get the charger. I'm going to have to get a second one of these bastards. Okay, let's plug that in. It's plugged in, turn it on. Okay, let's try this again. Turn on. Well, that's charging. Take it off. Put it on. So it looks like it's got a little spring where the pins come out. The only thing that irritates me is that there's no actual instructions about what function means what. So for instance, that sound means that it's charging. Well, every time I plug it in it charges. But how do you know when it's fully charged? Do you just simply wait the 3 hours and then take it off? Or does it make a sound? Does the Pokeball light up? What happens? This is where I think Nintendo failed miserably when it came to the Pokeball itself, is that they just didn't include the instructions. Or the instructions they included were very, very poor. So yeah, this is the unboxing of this Pokeball stand, and by the looks of things, it works. I mean, this thing's got a lot less plastic on it, but I mean, to me it just looks like a dumb charger. I mean, I'm actually quite comfortable with this, so I'll just unplug it, grab my screwdriver. And let's see whether or not this is a cringeworthy. If anyone remembers the 3DS, they had these little cradle things. All you do is you just plug your standard, well, power supply into it. This thing, however, has a USB cable, which I can understand as being useful, but if it becomes a bit, well, let's just say worse for wear, replacing it 50-50. Okay, so that's starting to come apart. Yeah, it's just two wires that go into there, that's it. As simple as anything. What's that? A resistor. That's it. Just a PCB, a couple of pins, and a wire. Oh man. So when buying this, you're really not buying anything but a bunch of plastic and some wires. That's it. There's no magic to this. It's actually really not worth its price. I mean, that's just... oof. I am so glad I didn't pre-order another one of these things, otherwise I would be kicking myself right about now. In fact, I can't even understand why I bought this. I thought it might have had a... This might have been something to buy later on when they were going cheap. Well, late. Whoops. Can't leave it like that. Back. One thing you got to make sure you're doing when you reassemble something, you do it properly. You don't want to leave something in a not so correct state, otherwise things can happen. Oh wow, it comes apart even more than I thought it did. Okay, so that slots in like that. That will slot in like that. I mean, this thing comes apart even more. It looks like these two sides are just simply clipped together, which isn't really anything too abnormal. I can honestly see the use for this. If you've got like a little bedside table or some sort of shelf with a power point you could connect this into. Just leave your Pokeball next to your front door, or next to your television or your console or wherever. Or at least a dock to your console, I mean that. Yeah. I'm so glad I didn't fork out for this all at once. Here, with EB Games, you can do pre-orders, and what I like to do is to pay them off slowly, which I'm pretty sure I've mentioned before, but who knows if you're watching that video. And I just don't fork out for these all at once. And this cable doesn't look like it's all that half bad, to be honest, but you'd expect something a little bit more premium, like a Pokemon covered like sheath or something for the cable casing or whatever you want to call it. Well, until I can get myself set up properly, I think I might just leave it in its box. Really nothing exciting to look in that. So what do the instructions have to say? As little as the ones that came with the Pokemon Let's Go. Pokemon. Da, 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 da. Okay. So what I did, but by nature. Yeah, here we go. Tells you to plug it directly into the dock. Connect the USB to the Nintendo Switch dock or other USB powered outlet terminal. Charging times may vary. If you are going to turn around and use a third-party charger, make sure that it's not some cheap-ass piece of crap. The last thing you want is this thing basically going up in smoke and exploding in your face because the battery inside decided to go critical. So be careful with what you do. Speaking of which, I still got to do a video on OH&S. There are things I've been seeing lately on the internet that are a bit, well, we already know it's dangerous. We already know people got cancer, but nothing to do with this, but still, it just... Anyway, that's my unboxing, and now it has to be a teardown of the Pokeball Plus charger stand. Literal waste of money. Ugh. Anyway, yibbity yibbida.